surprise there, right?
No surprise there. The judge was spot on when he referenced this really being, like you said, a fishing expedition and possibly another discovery tool under the guise of this motion that the defense was using just to dig up more stuff and use it as a delay or stall tactic. So the judge was right to quash the subpoenas, and only in the one instance did they allow the state to provide the communications between the former prosecutor. But it really is a high burden to ask for lawyers. And here we're talking about DAs, district attorneys, to, one, testify in a case in which they previously had involvement, and to disclose what may fall under the ambit of attorney work product, which there's a privilege that protects that type of documentation and information. So this was really a stretch for the defense. I mean, I guess they had to make this argument, but the judge was right on to deny the motions, to grant the motions to quash and deny the defense from bringing in these former prosecutors to testify in this case. This is not the time for another fishing expedition.
Yeah. Then came what is going to be very controversial, and I can only imagine the family of Ahmaud Arbery sitting in that courtroom and listening to the character evidence being brought up, which the defense says is not character evidence. They want it brought in under 404B, and they have 8 witnesses, starting with this chief of police of the school district, basically talking about the victim in this case and all of the victim's history in this case, none of which the prosecutor pointed out was acknowledged by the defendants. They had no idea who this was in their neighborhood. Where do you think this is going to go?
Nowhere. I think it's going to go nowhere, and here's why. What happened in 2013, or the alleged the criminal history of the victim in this particular case, is completely irrelevant to what happened during the car chase, at the point that these 3 defendants were chasing down in their pickup truck this gentleman who was simply jogging at the time, because they cannot put forth evidence, I don't believe, of them knowing that this was Ahmaud Arbery and even being able to make the tie at the time that they decided to chase him down in the truck and require him to answer to them as to why he was in the neighborhood, and essentially attempt to detain him or really falsely imprison, which is what the prosecution has labeled this as. Because they can't even say that they knew who this was, other than the gentleman who was running down the street, there are no ties, no connection, and therefore no relevance to what happened and to Ahmaud Arbery's past. None. It is not Ahmaud Arbery who's on trial. Unfortunately, he's deceased, so he couldn't be on trial. It is these 3 defendants who are on trial, and that's where the focus needs to stay. So I think, again, you have the defense grasping at straws. However, I don't see it going very far for them.
The hearing is expected to go into 2 days worth. This is going to be a big part of it. 8 witnesses. We've only heard from one of them, and there are different components of it. What about the mental illness that they're saying that they're going to bring in that information? Same deal? It's not relevant, is it?
Not under these circumstances, because you have to think about what was happening in the moments that Ahmaud Arbery was ultimately killed. And in those moments, the first instance was simply, the first alleged basis is that he was in the wrong neighborhood. He didn't belong there, according to the defendants, and that's why, as we know, they were just indicted on federal charges about interfering with Ahmaud Arbery's right to operate and walk on a public street.
Yeah, you're right. And then it goes from there, and then we're going to hear it all play out, though, over the next few hours today and then into tomorrow. We're going to step aside and take a break. The judge, as you saw, wanted about a 5-minute break, so we'll do the same thing. We'll take a quick break here and get you back into the courtroom. When we return, Court TV anchor Julie Grant will be here. Stay with us.